in some ways it's hard to get up here. In some ways it's not, you know, kind of pros and cons. Most of the time speakers, they do have something to say. Some have a lot to say. Some you wish had less to say and wish they would just be quiet and sit down and take their check and leave the building. But I'm not going to mention anything. But the actual beginning of the talk can be challenging. We all have stories to tell. So how do we like grab your attention from the onset? My sister yesterday tried to talk me into wearing this hideous blue wig that she found on Amazon in the dollar bin. She's like, wear it to church. And I was like, no, because that wouldn't even shock them. I have blue hair many times. I said, but to pull it off in the middle of the service, that might be interesting. With that horrible skull cap she was trying to talk me into. See, you know, my sister is older than me, and well, because I was the youngest of 7, so they all think they can kind of like talk me into doing all the crazy, stupid things like they did when you were little. She used to feed me like ant sandwiches. You know, things that, yeah, that you do to your younger siblings, and then your parents find out. And my parents were like, huh, well, you should have known better. They didn't get mad at her. But anyway, it's not just mindless babbling like it might sound. And, you know, we all know the Charlie Brown thing. Anytime Charlie Brown's like, bah, 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 and we're like, wah, 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 wah. Yeah. So here goes. I'm going to call this talk something my friend right here has heard me say. And I don't think she quite really comprehended, you know, the whole meaning of this, but I know she laughed about it, and we all had a little chuckle over it, even though I used to tell her, just step over the bodies and keep moving. Well, it was jokingly to some about getting out of bad dates, bad relationships. I'm sorry, I keep looking at you. That's okay. Bad work encounters with your boss. More about that later. But even though it might sound cruel, it does work. Step over the bodies and keep moving. So I'm going to start. I know most of you know a lot or a little about me. You're like, oh no, not again. You have to listen to this. But this is what took me years to understand through a lot of pain-filled events along this life's path. And we all know our paths, right? That mysterious thing we as spiritualists are always pointing people along and having the answers, you know, for all your questions. You know, we look in our crystal ball and, you know, or the magic 8-ball will do sometimes too. So am I on the right path? What is my path? Have I strayed from my path? Well, I'm going to let you in on what Spirit always laughs about when you ask that question. Any path you are on is your path. Even though you may stumble and walk through the valley of the shadow of death, it is your path. So, all this horrible stuff, junk I go through is my path? No, I must have stumbled across your path by accident. But my path, oh, no way is this mine. Did I create this mess? I must have got sidetracked somewhere along the way, not my path. Oh boy, to be young again and innocent of the truth, of the knowledge. All your life experiences have led you here. So Spirit walks with us. We know Spirit walks with us, just like the song talks with us. Spirit guides us along our path. And they do help us step over the pebbles in our path that we don't always see. They guide us down the backside of the huge boulder sometimes in our path. We come out on the other side, stronger as we have endured the obstacle in our path and grown and learned from it probably. It will not defeat you for the love and trust you place in Spirit. Spirit is here. They are here to comfort us in our times of sorrow. They're here to fortify us for the sometimes hurtful events in our lives. But Spirit never leaves your side, even when you don't pay attention to them, even when we fail to acknowledge them, even when we fail to ask for their help, when they're standing so closely by your side and you think, oh, I've got this. I don't need anybody's help or guidance or advice. They never leave us to struggle alone. So back to the comment I made earlier about me. This all ties it together. Boy, oh boy. I haven't led you down the wrong path. That was kind of a joke. The wrong path. I am what is known as a Gulf War veteran. But I was a veteran way before the Gulf War and afterward. But along came the Gulf War. And many of us were in theater. We spent countless hours, months, years training for war. You're taught strategy, psyops. You're taught survival skills. You're taught hand-to-hand combat. You're taught how to defeat an enemy, whatever way you have to do it, if it comes to that. So this particular war was no different than all the wars all the way back to our nation's beginnings. Military people deployed. We went wherever you told us we were going, and you did whatever they told you to do. I mean, that's one of the things I always get from people. Oh, you were in the military? What did you do? And I said, whatever they told me to do. Sometimes I wasn't happy about it, and I mumbled and grumbled and cursed. But this is where you implement all that training. This is your test of all the skills they taught you. So when they told me, just step over the bodies, keep moving, because you have a mask on, and God help you if you don't, you're going to smell things. But anyway, this made a huge impression on me and many of my co-workers in uniform. So don't waste a lot of time grieving on something that you can't change. And believe it or not, it happened for a reason, whatever you went through. Sometimes you'll never understand it. That was another thing I learned when my husband died. Oh, someday you'll understand. You know, you hear all these things from people, you know, trying to make you feel better. Oh, someday, oh, he's in a better place, you know. Someday you'll understand why this happened. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes you do, but the end result, keep moving. You're still alive. You're still functioning. It's not your time. So I used to be young and loving and innocent of life's ugliness. Then you experience some ugliness and betrayal, possibly, on your path. You can shake your fist at the sky if it makes you feel better. And frankly, sometimes it does. Most of the time, the lightning bolt doesn't come out of the sky and zap you dead on the spot for screaming or cursing at your God. But like I've told my granddaughters, you pull up your combat boots, you lace them tight, and you get ready to go out there again. Whatever your path calls for you to do at the time. So, I didn't tell you all this to upset you or defeat your spirit, no pun intended there. I tell you this because we all face battles daily in some form or another, whichever our particular path has called for. But we have some of the best weapons and ammunition a soul has access to. We have the belief in a higher power. We have the accompaniment of a very strong ally. Folks, we have in spirit. We have someone close by that has actually seen us at our weakest, at our ugliest times in this human life. This energy has outlasted mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers. They stay in our corner close by, just a breath away, just a thought away. I turn to my spirit guides and call upon guardian angels. I'm a big fan of Saint Michael, the archangel. I speak to him daily, which is another talk, another day. So they tell me we're here. We're always here, right with you. We never leave you. And believe me, that's unconditional love. Isn't it the peace we deserve after fighting life's battles that have made us so weary at times? I'm also part of a voluntary study group going on right now called the Gulf War Era Cohort and Biorepository. The VA healthcare system is studying, and we know they're always studying something. But, you know, they take your blood and they study it for years to come. More effects. I guess it's kind of like the Agent Orange effects the Vietnam veterans were exposed to. So we as veterans, you know, we already paid a price, and there is sacrifice involved in many ways. Some of us possibly going to pay another price to our country. So please, in your kindness, I know people don't realize all that veterans go through. Remember the price they pay even now for securing your freedom, the safety of our homeland, and you know what? The freedom to worship in a church of your choice, or not to worship, because that's your choice, and that's because of veterans. It's not because of politicians. We of all churches, spiritualists, appreciate this sacrifice. Where would we be without freedom of religion? Probably in stocks in the town center, or being burned at the stake as witches, at the mercy of those who we do not share the same beliefs with. Just go to Salem, it's still there. The stocks are still there. So we're free to grow and expand, to teach, to prove the continuity of life. We're free to have home circles, seances, table tipping, and the list goes on and on. So just like the song, you know, isn't it wonderful what Spirit can do? We sing, we praise, we enjoy the fellowship of like minds. Spirit gives us strength. They let us know life goes on. We see proof of that here every Sunday. And it is mini reading day too, by the way. We keep learning, we keep loving, we keep in touch with families and friends. On the other side, we are still free. And I know we celebrated Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Day recently, and he said, free, free at last, thank God Almighty, free at last. I thank you for your time. Spirit has stepped in very closely to bring us these thoughts and make us never not appreciate how we got here where we are standing here today. And there's so much benefit of these words from Spirit. So yeah, when you leave here and drive away and you go about your business here in this beautiful country, you can give thanks to Spirit, give thanks to veterans, you can give thanks to politicians that keep their promises and uphold democracy and keeping us probably the best country in the world. So we do not take that lightly. So please take this information we've presented to you and take it for what it is. And like I told Carla like 15 years ago, step over the bodies, Carla. And she probably thought, man, this lady's like really crazy. There's a method to the madness. So enjoy, and thank you for being here today.